Robert, we're about 2 miles from Old Plank Road. We're currently traveling northwest. And I just wanted to give you an idea of what the terrain looks like and the trees and whatnot. You're out in the country, but you knew that. Looks like there's excellent separation between properties. In other words, there's not a lot of people out here. The road is in very good shape. I don't see any evidence of snow here, but I did see a lot of evidence of snow on the way up here. So you're in an area that doesn't get as much snow as a lot of other places in the UP. It says the speed limit is 55 here, but I'm not sure you'd want to drive 55 on this road. I'm currently going about 40 to 45, and I would say that's a safe speed. It winds around quite a bit.
In a quarter mile, turn right.
We're going to turn right in a quarter mile, and that's going to be Old Plank Road. We're still heading northwest. We're on Old Plank Road and we're going northwest, currently traveling about 10 miles per hour. Old Plank Road is a dirt road. It's not in bad shape. It is a little bit bumpy, but we've had 4 days of rain, so that's kind of to be expected. I'm going about 10 miles an hour. And I'm towing my trailer and I'm bouncing around a little bit, but not bad. We've come to a set of signs. It says no outlet, street ends, private road, dead end road. I'd turn back if I were you. What the heck. You gotta be adventuresome, right? According to the Google Maps, it's right up here. So I may
continue on Old Plank Road for 3/4 of a mile.
May regret this, but we're going in anyway. We're still on Old Plank Road. road is getting a little bit more bumpy, but still not too bad. Currently headed to the northeast. And I'm going about 5 miles an hour. But that's primarily because I'm pulling the trailer behind me and I don't want it bouncing around too much. If I was driving the truck, I wouldn't have any problem driving 10 miles an hour, maybe 15. So this portion of Old Plank Road is the private drive area, and I think you can clearly see you wouldn't want to meet anybody on this road. There's not a lot of room to pull off to the left or the right. There are some areas, like right here, where you could easily pull off and let someone pass. So you can see down there where I have the casita parked. We're down a ways on this road, and this appears to be the house that you have identified on your photograph with the lines that says neighbor. And then there's a gate here, and that shows on your drawing that it goes around a lake. And so I'm going to walk into this gate and see if we can find your property, because it said, according to the GPS coordinates, that it was back here. But of course, we all know that GPS coordinates can be a bit close at times. So let's go on in here. Okay, so that appears to be the entrance to somebody's property. Here's that 15 miles per hour sign. I don't think anybody needs a 15 mile per hour sign. There's no way in hell you'd be driving anything more than 5. The road is not in bad shape. It's just very narrow. Looks like we've got a little wet patch over here with all the cedar trees and kind of a makeshift bridge culvert thing going across the road here. So this would be a bit of a place to get stuck. A lot of bracken fern growing here on either side. That's going to be nice and green in the spring. So we come to a fork in the road, one going to the right and one going to the left. Let me look at your instructions and see which way to go. So this is the fork heading to the west. It's really in pretty good shape. This is the area where you've got identified for your build. It's just absolutely spectacular. This road goes up a moderate hill. And it's not in bad shape. You can see the property has some moderate elevation changes. Nothing dramatic, but that does go down right there. And this does go up. Here we're looking over towards the left, and you can see how it goes down a little bit. Lots of cedar trees in here. So this goes back to a nice clearing back here. There's some 2x6 type of porch thing where it looks like somebody probably at one time put their tent or something there. And then you've got a nice open area right here. Well protected by the trees, most of them cedar. And then the road continues on down there towards the west. I'm going to go back to the fork in the road and take a look at that other fork. Okay, we're back at the fork in the road, and this is the area you have identified on your drawing for the house. And now we're going to walk down the south access road here. It's very much like the other one. It's in pretty good shape. It's a grass and dirt road. You do have some standing water, but not a lot here. A little bit of an elevation change, not a lot. And you can see over here a lot of open area. Really beautiful. And we come back in here. Looks like there's some type of structure built here on this south access road. Pretty simple. More open area over here. Looks like this structure was probably used for hunting. Even with my standards, I can't imagine living in it, but it would be a good hunting shack. And it looks out right over an open area where deer would probably be grazing and playing. And then appears there's another structure down here. Let's take a walk and see that one. So this one appears to be on skids and concrete blocks. And it appears to be a deer feeding station. It's got some hay in there and stuff. So, like you said, a lot of hunting going on in this area. Now we're looking back towards that other shack back there. I guess that's a hunting blind. So this is definitely a hunting blind. You can see they've got their cooler in here. They've got the windows to be able to watch out of. A little chair to sit in. If someone needed to, a half a day's work could put this into shape and be a temporary sleeping quarters. So that's the fork in the road. And this is the area you have identified for the cabin. And the ground is relatively flat, and it does appear to be a very good area to put a cabin. The ground does slope down back behind it. Not terribly deep, but a little bit. And so it would be good to put your cabin up here on the high ground. And the fork of the road is pretty much the high ground. So this area with all the trees that you have identified for the cabin would be an excellent area. Not hard to clear either. Couple of good-sized trees that appear to be probably ponderosa pine, and then some scraggly cedar trees and other types of deciduous trees. Okay, the fork in the road is just to the left of those three trees. And this is the area where you have marked for your cabin. The east road is just past those trees. You can barely see it right up there by the green. There's the road again, the east road right over there. Or wait, the west road. My bad. So this area in here would be relatively flat and an excellent area to put a cabin. If you wanted to have solar, you would need to clean out some of the trees because, of course, you're going to need to get sunlight in here. And then this is pointed towards that south fork in the road. So Old Plank Road continues down that direction. Your property is behind this gate. And over here to the other side is another property. And I'll go up and show you the sign so that you'll have the address. Looks like N1766 Train Township. And I'm not going to go in there because I assume it's private property. But just a beautiful area. So as you go into the gated area, there's another one of these culverts stuck in here. And I think this may need to be replaced because eventually that's going to cause you a problem if you get a major rain. That's just not big enough to carry the volume of water that would come racing down through there. And the same thing goes for that double pipe you saw in there heading into your area. You would need to replace that at some point. It wouldn't be an emergency, but just keep it in the back of your mind that it's something that needs to be done. And you can do that by hand. I did one myself. In fact, I'll leave you a link to installing a culvert on my property back here a year or so ago. So this is Old Plank Road, and I'm going to walk back to my trailer and then head on my business. Okay, so we're going down Old Plank Road. We just exited those signs that said no outlet, and I advise you to turn around here and so on and so on. We're traveling southwest on Old Plank Road. Gonna turn a little bit here. I'm I'm going about 8 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour. You could easily go double this if you were not towing an RV behind you. So this road's in pretty good shape. I would say once you get past that stop sign and the sign that says there's no outlet, to reduce your speed to maybe 10 miles an hour. In this area here, you could easily do 20. It's in pretty good shape. The area beyond those signs is a little bit more rough than it is out here, but certainly not bad. I didn't have any areas where I needed to put the truck in four-wheel drive or that I had any concerns about driving through. The soil appears to be sandy and pretty well drained. Might have some clay areas because I did see a couple of areas that were wet. My only concerns are access during the winter. Old Plank Road, I don't know if it's going to be plowed or not, but there's enough houses along this stretch that I would think somebody's going to be plowing just in order to get in and out. I can't imagine with the number of cottages and homes and stuff in here that there's not at least a few people who live here year-round. Most of them are probably summer, fall, and spring residents or just vacational residencies, but I'm sure there are some that are year-round. There's some hardy folks like us that, you know, just like to have our own place of paradise and not have everybody in our backyard, and so we're willing to put up with an awful lot in order to have that. And so they tend to come to places like this because nobody's here during the winter. So I wouldn't worry too much about having to ride a snowmobile the entire length of Old Plank Road. I'm pretty sure that's going to be open. And that stretch past your opening gate could easily be walked. Even if you weren't able to drive all the way back in there, there are places to park once you get past the gate, and it appears to be relatively secure, and it's not that far to get to your property. You wouldn't need a snowmobile or anything, maybe a pair of snowshoes when it really came down with a good dusting. There are plenty of areas on your property to build various structures, like a garage and a cabin, maybe a wood storage area, a sauna. If you want one of those, you could put one of those out there on that road that goes to the west. You've got enough space there to be able to stretch out and to really make your own piece of paradise. You're quite a ways off any kind of road with traffic, so you're not going to have to worry about anything other than maybe airplanes going overhead. And I didn't see any airports anywhere nearby, so the only reason an airplane would be going overhead is if it was landing in Marquette, which is a good hour and a half away. So any jets coming to Marquette are going to be up at 30 or 40,000 feet. I think you made a really good purchase. I'm not sure what your plans are or your aspirations, but having lived off-grid for quite a long time, if I had an opportunity to purchase a place like this again, I certainly would. Kind of just letting the video run here so you can get a good idea of Old Plank Road and the various bumps and stuff. There's isolated areas of standing water, but nothing that I would consider unpassable or difficult or anything like that. We've had 3 days of almost constant rain. It hasn't been hard rain, but it hasn't let up until today. So for this to have drained as quickly as it has indicates that the majority of this is good sandy soil. Gas line right there, but that's quite a ways from your property, so I'm guessing that doesn't go out there. It's probably just a place where the gas line crosses. So we're heading south now and still going about 11 to 12 miles per hour. You could easily do 25 through here. A couple more bumps in this area. Back out to the main road. And it appears that these dumpsters here at the main road are here for the use of all of the residents, because I doubt that there's any type of trash collection down here. Even here on the main road, we've only got one bar of cell reception, and I use Verizon. And you have one bar all the way in until Old Plank Road makes that sharp turn to the left and kind of forks, and the other road goes off the other direction. You have one bar there, and then from there to your property, you have no cell service whatsoever. I would probably look into some type of satellite service for internet. I've known people who have tried HughesNet and similar types of dish type satellite service, and they have not been happy. It gives you very spotty coverage, and I know quite a few people who have the new satellite service by Elon Musk, and they're very happy with it. But of course it's a little bit pricey. I think it's $150 a month, and then the satellite dish itself is $500 or $600. But at least that way you would have a connection to the outside world. You'd be able to, receive the various television shows that come via satellite. You could probably get some type of phone service via satellite, and so on. So I hope I answered most of your questions, and I gave you the coverage that you were looking for on the property. If you have any questions, please shoot them to me in an email, and I'm happy to give you any more impressions or any more background that I may not have covered on the actual video. And I thank you so much, and I wish you the very best.